Alright, we're live. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. This is a special episode kasi itong episode na to para sa inyo ito, sa lahat ng mga nagtatrabaho, sa lahat ng parents na nagre-raise ng mga anak nila para maging magaling at magkaroon ng magandang buhay. At sa mga business person, no, na may mga tao kayo at syempre meron kayong business, gusto niyo maging successful. So this is a good episode kasi our guest today is none other than Jayson Lo, and he's a motivational speaker. He helps a lot of people na maging successful. He also is an author and he is an entrepreneur. So maintindihan niya kung saan tayo galing. And madami siyang makukwento ngayon today. And we have here Jayson. Jayson, gandang gabi sa inyo.
Hey Christian, thank you for having me and for the community of Kumita Journey. Good evening to everyone.
All right. So yes, sir. Before we start with the questions, no, can you tell us about what you're doing right now? And aside from being an entrepreneur, can you tell me more about your entrepreneurship endeavor ngayon and other stuff aside from being a speaker in a lot of engagements?
Yeah, kung pwede lang magdagdagan yung title ng program Kumita Journey, Nalugi Journey. I've had a lot of epic failures pagdating sa negosyo. Maganda lang nagsimula ako at a young age. I was around 20 around 19, but seriously around 21 nag-start. And then I started with small businesses. Eventually, nagkaroon ako ng mga partners and we started a very small business na naging medium-sized siya. And yun din yung naging problem ko kasi yung lumalago na yung negosyo, akala ko yung multiple streams of income kailangan marami kang business. Mali pala, dapat mag-focus ka muna sa isa at pag yung isa na yan, napag-focusan mo na, that's the time you can figure out if you're gonna expand or diversify. So nag-expand ako in a way too quickly to other ventures. And at the age of 30, dun nalugi lahat, nawala lahat yung mga businesses ko, na bankrupt kami ng misis ko. Then after that, that's where I learned the real definition of success. It's not what's on the outside, but what happens first on the inside. And hindi ko rin alam na yung mga experiences ko, kaya siguro when I speak, I can relate to kung top level yan or kahit na rank and file. Dahil dun sa mga pinagdaanan ko, hindi ko alam yung story ko pala, yung experience ko, it can become a source of inspiration, and it also became a source of wisdom, yung mga epic failures, para hindi natularan ng mga iba. So in a nutshell, that's what I've been through, and now I speak to companies, organizations. I also wrote a few books.
Thank you for that. I like what you said, sabi mo, you failed in a lot of businesses. And yun din yung failure ko. I'm doing a lot of things.
Lakas ng tawa mo sa nalugi journey,
Siguro kasama ko.
Nagkakaintindihan.
Oo. So madaming ganyan yung try hard maging serial entrepreneur, ang dami mong ginagawa tapos wala ka ng focus. So that's good. Let's go to etong YouNique framework mo, itong book mo about YouNique. Can you tell us more about it? I've read a lot of psychology books, and when I was going through your book and also your channel, your content, I really appreciate it. Can you tell more about it? Lalo na sa mga audience na has not taken any type of personality assessment thing.
Yeah, I'm fascinated kasi with psychology, why we do what we do. So 10 years ago, I wrote a book entitled YouNique, Understanding Others by Understanding You. Ano siya, galing siya dun sa work ni William Marston in the 1920s. Pero kinontextualize ko siya for a Filipino setting, though I've taught this also outside the country. Yung 4 na personality types. So nandyan yung dominant, influential, steady, and corrective. Tapos I used popular animals in the Philippines to represent each one. So yung dominant, ginamit ko yung eagle natin, Philippine eagle. Tapos yung influential naman would be the rooster. Tapos yung carabao, yung sa steady, national animal of the Philippines. And then yung tarsier naman, yung corrective. So through this framework, you will discover your strengths and weaknesses and the strengths and weaknesses of others so that hindi lang natin gamitin yung golden rule, which is to treat others the way you want to be treated, but now you're using or you can use the unique rule, which is to treat others the way they want to be treated. So magagamit mo siya sa sales, magagamit mo siya sa leadership. Pero ang pinaka-importante would be the awareness first. Kaya pala ako ganito. And be proud of who you are, your personality, and maximize on what you do and who you are. Yun siya, basically, the 4 types.
Pwede mong i-differentiate yung mga ibang personality. Kasi I've taken disc, no?
Yeah.
Medyo high D ako eh. Eagle, what do you call that on your
Yes,
contextualization?
the dominant eagle.
Dominant eagle ako.
Yeah.
And then, bago kami ikasal ng misis ko, yung counselor namin took us meron kaming disc assessment. So, yung misis ko, steady carabao, ako naman yung what's the difference with other assessment? Like, meron tayong the big 5, di ba? And then we have the MBTI.
Yeah. I'm also certified in other instruments, disciplines. Yung disc here would be the simplicity. Kasi pag na-take mo siya, may idea ka na kagad eh. Kumbaga, you can read people like a book so that you can treat them accordingly. And then in your case, Christian, you and your wife, my wife naman and I wrote a book entitled also YouNique, pero uniquely in love.
Nice.
Usually, we fall in love with a person na, not all the time, but usually, we fall in love with someone na opposite our personality. Kasi we are looking for things na wala tayo eh. Pero yun din yung challenge. Kapag nag-asawa na kayo, yun din yung mga bagay na ayaw mo dun sa tao kasi yun nga yung differences ninyo. So, yung simplicity niya, number 1. And then yung contextualization niya for Filipinos. And then finally, it's also yung depth. Dahil sa mga tests, no, yung mga instruments, minsan masyado siyang malalim. And I've experienced that. Meron akong mga talks sa mga multinationals. Yung shinare ko na yung DISC, nag-take sila ng test, yung mga medyo mamahalin pa na test. And then, hindi nila masyadong naintindihan kasi napaka-sophisticated, no, yung test na yon. And then, meron naman iba, yung masyadong simple naman, na akala nila they can just talk about it in 1 hour and then alam mo na yung buo. So, nandun ako sa gitna na may depth siya, pero it's also making complicated topics or situations much simpler. Tsaka immediately, meron tayong instant application.
Okay, speaking of application and impact, based on your experience, paano nakinabang yung mga individuals or businesses na nag-apply ng unique approach?
Yeah, well, I've taught this kasi to many groups, companies, even organizations, churches, na nagamit nila dahil nabigyan sila ng framework to use the AAA model, which is to be aware, and then to accept, and then to adapt. Yun yung name ng game sa lahat ng bagay. If you want to be successful in life, they call this the law of requisite variety, na he or she who is the most flexible tends to control the outcome. So kung flexible ka, pwede kang mag-dictate ng outcome na gusto mo. Dahil una, alam mo yung behavior mo, aware ka sa sarili mo. Pangalawa, aware ka sa mga ibang tao. And then from there, kung ano yung tao na kausap mo or kung nasang situation ka, pwede kang mag-adapt. You're not just one person or personality, but then you become what I call the learned chameleon. So pag chameleon ka, nag-a-adapt ka to serve others better. And you do that either temporarily dahil kasama siya sa trabaho mo, or you do it long term dahil permanently you would need that trait so that you can be more attuned to the situations that you are facing.
I completely agree kasi when I took this type of assessment, parang nagkaroon ka ng empathy Now
Hmm.
you know how to attack yung situation because you know yung strength niya, yung perspective niya, no? Tsaka
Right.
yung challenges niya. We're talking about self-awareness. Is self-awareness, is it like pinanganak ka na self-awareness ka? Or yung iba kasi parang mababa yung self-awareness. Anong thoughts mo doon?
Hmm. Self-awareness kasi is a skill. There are some na mas self-aware sila than others. Pero kahit na by default mas self-aware ka, kailangan mo pa ding kailangan mo pa din siyang i-develop yung skill na 'yan. Dahil yung self-awareness natin minsan nakakahadlang yung environment natin. So for example, we live in a culture na sineselebrate natin yung pagiging extrovert. Pag may
Mhm.
anak tayo, 'di ba, tinuturuan natin, "Oh, kailangan mas maboka ka anak, kailangan mas ma-PR ka, kailangan you have to be a people person." So minsan yung mga bata, hindi naman sila talaga gano'n. Now, how do you draw out from them kung ano talaga yung strength nila so that hindi sila magiging someone they are not? So pag yan, na-strengthen na nila yung self-awareness nila, natuto na sila, that's a time when they can learn how to adjust. Kaya pag mga bata, meron tayong tinatawag na, I use this term, no, yung personality mask.
Mhm.
They're putting on masks to please their parents. I just guested in a TV program. Tinanong ako ng host. Sabi niya, parang ang mga bata ba, dapat yung parents, gina-guide sila sa mga course nila. Sabi ko, okay na i-guide, pero wag dapat natin pipilitin. Dahil kung lawyer si daddy, kailangan si anak maging lawyer din. Or doctor si daddy, kailangan si anak maging doctor din. We have to remember that in the next 5 to 10 years and beyond, maraming mga career na hindi pa natin nakikita before. So if you're aware, alam mo, now, opening those doors of opportunities, it's easier for you to figure out if this opportunity is for you or not. Dahil hindi ka lang nagfo-flow dun sa trend or joining a bandwagon, alam mo talaga kung saan ka papunta.
Okay. Paano mo siya, let's say yung anak mo, no, 8 years old, paano, paano mo siya hindi i-direct, no, too much and yet maintain that like sort of independence so para ma-discover niya yung sarili niya?
Is
Ano
this
mga,
your child?
yes, yes.
Boy, girl?
Boy,
Tapos anong palagay mong profile niya dun sa disc? If you would guess.
may pagka-D rin siya eh.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Medyo, nakita ko nung bata pa eh. That's why I was asking, are they born? Kasi sometime may disposition na siya, no?
Mm.
Pag ano niya. And then yun yung profile niya, no? So medyo D
Oh,
siya.
yung kaninang question mo, sabi, kasi you were asking if there yung pagdating sa awareness, no? Hindi tayo masyadong aware, pero pagdating sa ganito na, yung behavioral style natin or yung
Okay.
personality type, meron na tayong from the time we were born,
I
meron na
see.
tayong primary kung ano yung
I see.
pinakamataas. Now, it changes kasi may balance primary and secondary.
I
Pag
see.
ang anak mo ay dominant, they will take the lead. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Kaya kailangan parang maaga pa lang tinuturuan na natin sila na ang pinaka-importante is not really winning, but ang importante would be having the right values. Kasi ang
Mm.
dominant, ganyan win no matter what Di ba? Sometimes to the detriment of the relationship. So, maganda with your question, kapag ikaw ay may negosyo,
Mhm.
ikaw ay manager, parang dapat ang tingin mo din sa mga anak mo or mga tao mo parang anak mo
I
So
see.
now, the dynamics would change kasi pagdating sa anak natin, we don't treat them the way you want to be treated. Yan, nasa top 5 mistakes ng mga managers yan. Treating their people as if they are want to be treated themselves. Pero they should learn how to treat them the way they want to be treated. So kung dominant ang anak natin, we treat them as such. Kapag steady, we treat them as such. Tapos pag influential, ganun din yung approach natin. Iba-iba siya.
Okay, good, good. Ikaw, let me turn the question to you. kailan ka nagkaroon ng, really deep self-awareness? Kailan nag-umpisa?
Parang alam mo yata yung sagot sa tanong ko eh. Yung nalugi yung negosyo.
Ay, doon. So you go back to that.
Oo, matinding awareness yun. I've reached a point na I became successful kasi relatively at a young age, no? Tapos akala ko magaling na ako. I thought I know the definition of success. Yung nalugi na lahat, yung experience ko yun changed everything. I remember one of the stories of Kobe Bryant. Sabi niya before he had no empathy with his teammates, pero yung na-injure siya, that changed everything. Nagkaroon na siya ng empathy. So ako, parang ganun yung nangyari, yung nalugi yung negosyo ko, to the point na umiikot yung chan ko every day. Hindi nga butterflies eh, parang bubuyog eh. Tapos at 9 a.m., 9, 10 a.m. pag nag-ring yung phone or nakaka-receive ako ng text message, natatakot na ako. Kinakabog na ako kasi it's either meron kaming supplier na naniningil or yung bangko, may mapuputokan kami ng cheque. Buti na lang, awa ng Diyos, wala naman pumutok na cheque. Until today, ayokong marinig yung ringtone na yon. Tapos may kausap ako na isang negosyante din. Nangyari din sa kanya yung nalugi yung business niya. I didn't tell my story and then he was telling his story. Exactly the same. Sabi niya, itong ringtone na to, dinelete ko na yan. Ayokong marinig yan kasi hanggang ngayon, pag naririnig daw niya, nato-trauma siya. So those are experiences na make us humble and it actually gives us better perspective in our life, not to treat blessings for granted, opportunities for granted. Every opportunity is really a blessing from God.
Thank you for that. Was there a specific, you mentioned yung pain of suffering and also at the same time yung kay Kobe Bryant being injured, you realized a lot of things. Was there another like lesson to move you forward? Like it, or was it more, I have to change myself? Was there like a certain lesson that, hey, I can do this, something like that?
Maraming mga lessons. One in particular is dinedevelop tayo eh in the midst of challenges. Kasi aabot ka sa point na may mga problema tayo na wala talagang solusyon. Walang solusyon. So pag wala ng solusyon yung problema, you ask yourself, why do I have to go through this? Or you ask the divine, Lord, why do I need to go through this? So dun tayo na de-develop as a person. Tapos hindi natin alam because of those challenges, it also grows us. It makes us a bigger person so that now you're prepared to face challenges and bigger challenges along the way. You know, Christian, this is interesting. No? I recently have been teaching this. Yung pagdating sa happiness. Kasi lahat ng tao gusto natin maging happy eh. Kaya lang, hindi naiintindihan ng tao na ang happiness, if you want to be happy, you'll never be happy in life eh. Kasi nami-misconstrued natin yung happiness na happening siya. Meron akong mga happy events in my life. Pero all of the happy events that we will experience in our life, kailangan dumating tayo sa point na we solve problems eh. In other words, pag may bahay ka, bibili ka ng bagong bahay, mas malaking bahay, ang tawag doon problema. Kasi papagawa mo yung bahay, paparenovate mo, papaayos mo, pupunin mo ng furniture. Pag may kotse ka, bumili ka ng kotse, problema yan. Papa-maintain mo. Bumili ka ng additional na 2 pang kotse, may 3 ka ng kotse, problema na naman yan. Meron kang 3 parang mga anak, papa-maintain mo, lahat. So now, some people would disagree. Hindi, parang mali yata yun yung problema. Pag tinanong ko sila, are you married? Yes. Okay, anong tawag mo sa, spouse mo? Nagigets na nila. Kasi lahat ng mga experience natin, no, which will give us the most beautiful experiences in our life, the most fulfilling experiences that we will have in our life. We need to be able to solve problems. But now, change your definition of problems and change kumbaga yung mga battles that we choose, we have to choose them wisely. Kasi kailangan yung mga sinusolve natin na problems, mga meaningful problems. Kahit mga anak, my children, I have 2 daughters, 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. Kumbaga, grabe yung mga problema na ibang dinulot sa amin, pero it's all worth it dahil it's super meaningful. I mean, I won't mind going through all of those problems. So yung problems na yan, magiging possibilities, and yung mga challenges, they become opportunities. Tapos ang pinakamaganda dyan, if we want to be super happy, now you move from just solving meaningful problems into solving other people's meaningful problems. Kasi parang negosyo, di ba? Negosyo naman, it's really about solving problems. Eh. The moment you stop solving problems, your business stagnates. And possibly, it can die.
Hey, segue tayo, no? Kasi madaming like me, no? I have a business. Pero sometimes, parang hindi nag-work. How do we recover? Kasi nasisira yung productivity mo eh. Ano yung mga tips or techniques that you use to, let's say, I'm overwhelmed, yung mga viewers natin, overwhelmed, down sila, productivity nila down, di sila makakoncentrate, anxious sila. Ano yung mga tactical tips that you would suggest for our viewers?
You mentioned about yung mga negosyo, yung mga problema sa negosyo. I recently, last Saturday, I did a whole day session for my friend's company. And when I shared dun sa execom nila na most business problems are people problems in disguise. Lahat sila tunguan. And then most of the problems we encounter in our work, in our business, has nothing to do with our work or business. Eh. Usually it's internal, usually it's people. Kasi pag problema natin, negosyo, masaya tayo, excited tayo eh. Hanap tayo ng solusyon, yung creativity juices natin, nag-overflow. Pero dahil merong hadlang, and yung hadlang na yan, it's either tao, or pag tumingin tayo sa sarili na sa salamin, nakikita mo yung hadlang, yung sarili mo. Yun yung minsan kailangan natin talagang i-figure out muna. Pag na-figure out na natin yun, the rest will be will be easier. And you know, it's interesting. I had another session last month. Yung company na yon is a mining company. Tapos, it was such a coincidence. Yung kami sa building nila, they had this new building in BGC. Right after my talk, meron silang isang room doon na may mga bonsai. Tinitingnan ko siya. Tapos nandun yung owner. So yung owner, since nandun na, you get to speak with a billionaire, di ba? What do you do? So you ask questions. So I started asking him questions, and then he told me, oh, sit down first. So we ended up talking like for 30-40 minutes. And I asked him some questions na yung mga sagot niya, no, sobrang simple lang. Nalugi yung business niya before, nasa lumber business siya. Tapos he stopped daw doing business, any business for 8 years. How did you do that? Of course, maybe may mga reserve siya, no? Pero ang laking pera yung nawala sa kanya. Nagpahinga daw muna siya until he discovered new business. And he told me, you know, Jayson, if you find the right business, everything else will follow. Some people, or most people, mali yung business nila eh. Pero pag nahanap po yung business na tama, ayan, magpo-flow lahat. May iba nagtatanong, hindi ko nga mabayaran yung mga tao ko ng minimum pay. Ang hirap. Kasi hindi pa kumikita yung business namin or ganyan. Yes, of course, kung mas maliit pala yung business natin, no, we start off with what we have. Pero kung yung business mo, years na, tapos hindi mo pa rin mabayaran yung mga tao mo ng minimum, di ba, pay, then maybe you're not in the right business. So simple things like that, na pag na-figure out natin, no, the question that I would lay to my clients, especially, for example, nasa sales ka, mga top performers, this is called the focusing question. What's the one thing that you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? What's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary?
So simplification, simplifying it into even bite-sized, no, para lang, yeah, you could move the problem. That's good. Here, talked about people problems. And syempre, you're starting a business, yun yung audience natin, no? Yung mga taong nag-uumpisa pala ng business. Ano yung suggestion mo in terms of yung profile na kailangan mo? Let's say I'm medyo S ako, no? Steady, Carabao. Do you consider that into the mix when hiring people and also building a culture, yung kultura na gusto mo para sa kumpanya mo?
Mhm. In terms of yung profile, no? Yung leaders kasi, leadership, hindi siya one-dimensional. Sa DISC context, yung DISC with YouNique, meron tayong tinatawag na 8 dimensions of leadership. Meaning, kung ako ay high dominant, you have your own style of leading. Tapos, kunyari, ikaw ay dominant influential, ibang style na naman yan. You're called the pioneering leader. Pag high dominant lang, you're called the commanding leader. Kapag steady ka naman na may corrective, you're called the humble leader. So, yung 8 dimensions na yan, sometimes, hindi mag-work yung isang style lang in leading. Whether we can be idealistic na ito lang yung pupwedeng style, pero kailangan is either alam mo kung paano mag-adjust or you surround yourself with different types of leaders. So one in particular, no, I have a friend, sabi niya sa akin, alam mo, Jayson, okay ako na leader pag war. Pero pag peaceful times, hindi ako okay na leader And then, it reminded me of exactly Winston Churchill. He was like that. Diba? He was the best leader,
Yeah.
Pag gera, pero yung peaceful,
Tinanggal
kulang
siya.
na lang, i-kick out siya sa country nila So, yung gano'n na kailangan marunong tayo mag-adjust. But of course, Winston Churchill is an amazing leader.
Syempre.
Super, diba? He was the one who rallied everyone against Nazi Germany. Pero if he had only known how to tone down and change his style of leading, then he could have been better also or thrive even in peaceful times.
I like that. That's yun yung na-miss out ko. I haven't really dug deep dun sa disc yung leadership na yan. And it's an interesting thing. So in a way, it's not just static, You have to be flexible and you're constantly being self-aware, It's not like, hey, I know this is my style, this is you. You have to adjust constantly. And that's what makes a good a leader. So that's quite powerful. Now, for let's say sa team mo na, no? You've chosen your team na. Let's say sales yung position na-hire mo pero kailangan mo medyo dominant. Paano mo siya ita-transition syempre to close deals? Diba? You have to be aggressive. Ang na-notice ko kasi, I've managed sales teams. Pag medyo hindi dominant, medyo matagal yung follow-up process, nahihiya, diba? Tapos, dami excuse. Kasi nga, medyo relationship, no? Relationship-centric yung pag-iisip, no? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I often do mga sales, mga talks for companies, specifically sa sales nila. And I use this example. It's funny. Well, my good friends, nagturo ako sa kanila ng disc before sa team nila. Yung asawa, yung husband, super steady. Yung wife naman, super dominant. Tandem sila. Sabi ng husband sa akin, alam mo, tama yung sinabi mo, Jayson Yung asawa ko, kapag ayaw mo, super dominant yan, iiwang ka niyan. Mabilisan maghanap ng iba. Ako, steady ako. Kung ayaw mo, aantayin kita. So, pag aware ka with your team, you're more aware. You understand that they have different strengths. Now, there are some companies na you work individually, but there are some naman who work in teams. So, if you're working in teams, you can utilize the different strengths of your people. Kasi ang dominant, mabilis nga sila sa sales, mabilis sila mag-close. Pero kulang naman sila sa pag-alaga ng mga clients sila and customers. That's not their strength. Pero ang mga steady naman, yan naman ang strength nila. Kumbaga, pag kumuha yung ano niyan, kumuha sa kanila, yung anak niyan kukuha din sa kanila. Or kung itong client ito, they just get one service. Eventually, the steady, while building that deeper relationship, can actually sell more products to that one client. Influentials naman, just a while ago, I had a meeting with a company, the events company who's now my friend, the owner of that events company. She's a super duper influential.
Mm.
Super duper influential. Nung nag-meet kami, ang dami niyang mga sinishare, tapos makwento siya, ang dami niyang mga stories. So feeling ng kliyente, nag-usap na kami beforehand. Dahil para kami nag-i-improv, kukwento siya, share ako, duduktungan niya. Tapos after the meeting, nagtatawanan kami. Sabi ko, ang galing ng mga parang nag-usap tayong dalawa. I know, Jason, right? Pag corrective naman yan naman yung mga tipong they will blow you away with their presentation. Nandiyan na yung mga factoids, nandiyan na yung mga all of the details needed. So just imagine if you have a team na alam nila yung mga strengths nila, nagko-complement sila. Meron tayong bagong branch. Let's say mag-open tayo sa Davao. Pupunta ako ng Davao itong Friday. Open ka ng branch sa Davao. So sinong papadala mo doon? Huwag kang magpapadala ng steady. Kasi mas mabagal sila pagdating sa closing or building networks. Huwag ka rin magpapadala ng corrective kasi yun nga yung weakness nila, analysis paralysis. Padala ka ngayon ng dominant kasi mabilis yan pagdating sa goals, tasks, or magpadala ka ng influential. Mabilis yan magbuo ng network. Pero pag yan na-establish na yung dominant at influential, they will lose interest Kasi they would want to look for the next adventure. The next adventure to conquer. So now you send in your steady and corrective because they will make something good and turn it into something better. So ganun nag-work yung team dynamics.
I like that kasi parang if you have that knowledge, mas magiging efficient ka instead of alam mo, ipupush mo siya like in basketball, no? If that's not kung mabagal nga siya, diba? You're only it's like gravity, diba? You have to use the momentum or the weight of his strength, whatever that is, diba? So might as well unlock it and then you get there faster. Now, ito, I follow Jordan Peterson, kasi psychologist siya. Syempre, it pops into your radar.
I'm a fan.
Oh, yeah, nice. And he said this. I'd like to get your thoughts. No? Ako, I don't completely believe it. I asked this to a psychologist before, dito sa episode natin, dito sa channel natin. And although di niya nasagot, I'd like to get your thoughts as far as an entrepreneur, sabi ni Jordan Peterson. Although iba yung model niya, Big Five, di ba? So parang it's more openness rather than disagreement, no? In your view, using the disc, the dominant and ISC, ano yung ideal profile or personality na dapat for an entrepreneur? Is it D or is it more S? Kasi sabi ni Jordan Peterson, if you want someone to be a good manager, go for conscientious or people na medyo detalyado, diba? Or good at management. But if you want an entrepreneur, creative siya, so open na siya. Your view on that comment.
Yeah. Funny lang na I was reading his book. Nakalimutan ko kung 10 Rules of Life ba yung nababasa ko. 12. Parang parang series na, di ba? Yung introduction pa lang para kang nagbasa ng isang buong libro na sa lalim Well, yung leadership scenario kasi sometimes it's a bit complicated. Even yung entrepreneurship, you will see different entrepreneurs na iba-iba yung mga profile nila. Hindi mo masasabi na kapag entrepreneur ka, dapat dominant ka lang. Or pag entrepreneur ka, dapat steady ka lang. Tapos iba din yung mga schools of thought nila, no? Dahil, for example, si Jordan Peterson, as brilliant as he is, he doesn't believe in EQ, emotional quotient.
Oo nga, I
Sabi
heard
niya,
about that. I was surprised.
di ba? It doesn't exist. Tapos yung kabila naman, si Daniel Goleman, nabasa ko rin yung book niya, which is yung sa emotional quotient.
Yes.
Siya naman, yun naman yung focus niya.
Siyempre. Yeah.
Na ito yung this is, it's 24 times more powerful than IQ. So, I would really go back to the principles rather than the profile dahil I don't wanna put people in a box. Now, if you will ask me ano yung prevalent na personality type na nagnenegosyo, madami dominant. Pero ang challenge with dominance kasi, makikita mo din in some of your probably friends, ma-observe mo to, yung mga dominance na maraming ginawang negosyo, tapos napapabayaan nila. Dahil hindi nga nila strength yung pagdating sa, in a way, management. So, again, it will all boil down to having the right the right team, which is yun din yung sinabi nung the billionaire I spoke to. Another advice that he gave was you need to have the right team. And I was reading his profile. He looks to be like a high dominant. A high dominant. I spoke to his president. We had lunch kasi, yung isang group pa kami. So yung president niya, super corrective. Nagtanong lang ako about mining. Kinwento na sa akin yung history ng mining. Bakit ang tao negative ang tingin sa mining. Kinwento niya yung mga parang 3-4 na administration na si Ramos yung gumawa ng way para ganyan. And then napunta kay GMA. So ganun yung yung setup. And then yung isang head nila looks like a dominant influential. She was so kind and siya yung sa akin, nag-aaruga sa akin. Oh, Jayson, ganyan, ganito. So yun yung yun yung sagot rather than just a profile. You have to have a team. I don't know if you're familiar with K. Michael Gerber, yung E-Myth Mastery.
Yes.
Right? Di ba yung
Yes.
although medyo kailangan lang siyang i-update ng konti, no? Kasi he was talking about the cog in a wheel. Ngayon, nasa na tayo creativity economy na tayo tama ba? Creativity economy.
Yes.
But now, yung sinasabi niya yung 3 types ng people in business, the entrepreneur, the visionary, kailangan meron ka din yung second, which is the manager. Yan yung gumagawa ng sistema para yung vision ng entrepreneur would come to fruition. And then yung pangatlo naman would be the technician. Sila naman yung mga they're the ones who get their hands dirty. May mga ibang negosyante, technician sila, entrepreneurs sila, pero hindi sila manager. Meron naman ibang negosyante, manager sila, pero kulang naman sa imagination. Kaya yung business nila hindi na lumalaki. So, yun yung parang I believe would be the better question instead of asking which is the best type to start or to a business. Maybe a better question would be anong team yung kailangan natin para maging successful tayo sa business at anong industry. Does that make sense?
I'm very happy kasi may natutunan ako.
I know Jordan Peterson.
I've learned a lot, pero yun yung pinaka-important. Lalo na, ang dami mong tinatayo. I've failed a lot also And I think yun yung missing piece Finding that synergy. And I think with my businesses ngayon, mukhang okay I have a good team. There's that synergy. So, nabavalidate yung sinasabi nyo, sir. Here's just a few more questions, just to cover some important things that's happening in the Philippines and around the world. Like kami, we use AI. I've worked for an AI company as well, no? And a lot, everyone's using AI, right? Yeah. Even in school, Ateneo as well, and a lot of schools are employing AI, part of education. With the rise of AI, I've used it to mimic someone. Let's say I follow Jordan Peterson. I want this AI to think like Jordan Peterson, to argue like Jordan Peterson. And I was able to do it with just ChatGPT. So I trained it and then blah, blah, blah. Wow. So here's my question. With the rise of AI, yung potential nito to mimic human thoughts. Ngayon, yung face, pero eventually yung process mo Ano yung magiging nakikita mong problem nito sa yung individual uniqueness? Do you see any challenges there, or I'm looking at it the wrong way?
Yeah, well, unang challenge yan would be scams, of course.
Okay.
Ibang level na ngayon, no?
Oo nga.
Kala mo kausap mo talaga yung asawa mo
Voice.
or
Oo
yung
nga.
anak mo. Well, kasi ang AI, no, it's a, kumbaga, magnifier. So, just like when the rise of internet way back in the 90s, early 2000s, takot pa tayo sa Y2K back then. But it was a magnifier eh. So, yung AI, it can be abused, misused, or it can also be used for you to make your business better. So now, dadating siguro yung point na may mga early adopters pag nag-start na yung AI, which we are seeing now. But I guess as much as it would give us advantages, we still have to stick with solid business principles eh. So pag alam mo yung mga paano magpatakbo ng negosyo, di ba? Cash flow, mga basics, and then use AI, use the power of AI to complement that, to magnify it. You will grow kasi dadating sa point na parang yung saturation point na, for example, yung nag-start yung pandemic, di ba? Nagkaroon ng naging malakas ang online, sobrang lakas. Tapos doon naglabasan na yung mga bagong businesses. Yung mga early adopters na nag-invest sila, for example, sa Smart. Nakita nila yung mga with technology, with Glow, with GCash, for example. Hindi nakikita na natin na mangyari yun eh, pero hindi natin nakita na magkaka-pandemic. So na-accelerate siya. So yung GCash ngayon, sobrang lumaki yung Globe. But now, nag-a-adapt na yung mga ibang mga service providers. So, it will reach a point na kapag lahat nag-adapt na, parang kumbaga sa basketball, lahat kayo dyan, matatangkad kayo, lahat kayo mabibilis. Ano yung magiging main advantage mo pa din? Ano pa rin yung magiging unique selling proposition mo? So, for example, sa mga artista, ang hirap malaman kung sino yung sisikat dahil lahat sila pogi, lahat sila magaling magsalita, lahat sila ang ganda ng presence. Pero at the end of the day, babalik ka pa din dun sa mga traits yan. Masipag ba yan? Magalang ba yan? Hindi ba lalaki yung ulo niyan? So in business, I believe it's also going to be the same. We can use AI. Definitely, we have to use AI to make our lives easier. Remember, it's a tool. It's a system. Pero pag ginamit mo yung system, how do you use it? Not just to make your business more efficient, more effective, and gain those advantages. But when those advantages disappear, because everyone else will, alam mo yun, lahat na yan maglalabasan na ulit. Now, ano ba yung mga basic principles na pinanghahawakan mo, solid principles to run that business so that it can continuously be successful with AI, without AI, or beyond.
Alright.
Alam mo, yung mga question mo, ang hihirap which natutuwa ako kasi
Maraming salamat.
marami tayong similarities. You're a fan of Jordan Peterson.
Reader, dominant Well, thank you for that.
I hope it made sense. No,
it does make sense. It does make sense, and I really appreciate it. No, a good perspective on that. Here, ito na last na to. And then we'll do some final stuff here. Here in our episode, we tackled a lot of things. No? Culture, syempre, it will affect business. Like, what's happening with Disney? We did the video recently. And syempre, yung woke, di ba? Identity politics na yan.
Right.
Your views, kasi mukhang papunta na doon. I'm not sure, pero lumalaban na yung mga di ba? Nagkakaroon na ng backlash. And it affects yung individuality. For me, kasi entrepreneurship is, it's a creative expression, di ba?
Right.
of your uniqueness, your strength, your ideas. It's all about expression of value that's unique, no?
You're creating
Otherwise,
your own ano your own world, your own universe.
yes, that's right. Tingin mo ba magpapatuloy itong mga woke politics na to, identity politics sa tingin mo, or mukhang nagkakaroon na ng backlash?
Yeah. I started experiencing yung wokeness in my talks. It started in 2017 eh. Nagsimula yung mga times na medyo mas naging super sensitive yung audience. And I felt it. I had to really adjust as well. With Disney, kita naman natin kung paano nag-plummet yung stocks nila. Tapos ngayon may bago sila, di ba? Yung kay Snow White.
Oo.
Na yung actress mismo, I forgot her name. She looks like a villain ng Disney when she was Rachel, yeah, something. Yung ine-explain niya na outdated na yung Snow White. Tapos it's not the same story na yung prince would save Snow White. Wala na yung 7 dwarves.
Yes, iba.
Naging na 7 magical creatures ba yon?
Multiracial.
We saw that also with Bud Light, di ba? They lost 20 plus billion so far and counting. Now, I can see that kung ano naman yung nangyayari sa States, yun yung mangyayari dito eh. And yung recent na nangyari, no, with I actually wrote about it eh. Pinost ko rin siya sa social media. Yung nagmamak kay Jesus.
Oh, yes, yeah, grabe.
Again, it's not the community per se, but it's a person. But one person can influence a whole community eh. So, yung wokeness, no, if we do not really stand for something, we will fall for anything. We can be respectful of all beliefs. We can be respectful of other groups. But nasan ba yung boundary natin, yung boundaries natin? Kasi ako yung boundaries ko, no? For example, I don't really care kung ano yung gagawin ni Disney. Pero kung dumating na sa point na si Disney is finding ways to influence my children by including wokeness in mga PG cartoons na bigla na lang magugulat tayo na, okay, don't shove your beliefs on us kasi we're not shoving our beliefs on you eh. So it's happening now in also other countries. Kaya yun yung challenge, no? Kapag tayo ay nasa business, we have to be politically correct. Yung vernacular na ginagamit natin, kailangan acceptable. Pero yun nga, no? Learn to respect others, but you have to also stand for something. At the end of the day, that's what business is all about also eh. What do you stand for? Kaya nga lahat ng mga businesses na malalaki, yung mga successful, almost all of them, they have values eh. What are the most valuable things that your company and your people values? Kasi if you lose that, you lose your way eh. If you lose your why, you lose your way. And that's why Disney is now losing its way. It's because they've forgotten why they're doing all of this eh, and started putting, woke politics above what they stand for and what their values are.
That's very good analysis of the situation. In fact, ito, just from a business perspective lang, if you really value your customers, no, then you value their values as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And right now, kasi Disney is attacking yung very customer niya, which is family eh. Diba? And hindi naman America yung customer lang niya, buong mundo. Diba? So we always emphasize that here in our channel. Know your customer and know the values of your customers as well.
Exactly.
Thank you for that. Jayson, any final message sa mga viewers natin na nag-uumpisa pa lang ng business nila or nag-uumpisa pa lang ng career nila? Any last thoughts? And at the same time, how do they find you? Do you have other books that they can consume, eat, and can they get your autograph after all that?
Yeah, I'm just checking if it's here. before my talk with the mining company, that's why I love what I do. No, I get to speak to different groups of people. The day before that, I get to speak for mga micro entrepreneurs. So mga nagsa-start pa lang yung iba aspiring, yung iba medyo yung negosyo nila nag-stagnate. Tapos ang opening ko sa kanila, alam mo naman pag nagnegosyo tayo, lahat tayo may pangarap, di ba? Pero ang hindi nakikita ng mga tao kapag ikaw ay nagnenegosyo, yung negative side. Kasi laging kinikwento sa media, sa social media, makikita natin, if may pangarap ka, dapat you have to pursue your dreams. Pag nagnenegosyo ka, ito yung mga possibilities. Pero hindi nila ina-explain yung dark side. Na pag nagnegosyo ka, the chances of you having suicidal thoughts daw becomes 2 to 3 times higher than a normal person, yung depression and all of that. But yun yung maganda rin sa negosyo. Kumbaga, you're not just solving your meaningful problems, but you're solving meaningful problems of others. And ako personally, no, I believe that ang business hindi para sa lahat. Pero I also believe na dapat lahat subukan magnegosyo. Kasi kahit anong mangyari, basta alam mo yung principles, alam mo na dapat hindi ka bubugso-bugso, magsisimula ka ng maliit, and then unti-unti mong papalakihin. Huwag magsisimula ng negosyo na utang kagad. Kailangan pag-aralan nyo muna yung mga negosyo. If you know those principles, if you if you start a business and give it your best, and if your best is not good enough, and you fail, the worst thing that can happen to you is you learn something na dala-dala mo yan habang buhay. Now, if you succeed, then that's another story. So, kahit na hindi para sa atang business, subukan nyo, give your best, gawin nyo siya, because no matter what happens, it's going to be worth it along the way. Kaya nga, Kumita Journey to, no? Yung journey natin para kumita, pero kailangan handa rin kayong malugi.
Alright. Maraming salamat. How do they find you? I know you have a Spotify podcast as well. How often is that? And then, do you have an upcoming event and other books?
Yeah, well, you can follow. Maybe I can guess you one of these days. Although nag-pause muna ako sa podcast ko, no? But my podcast has like maybe around 70 episodes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So the title of my podcast is The YouNique Life. That's spelled YouNique. And I'm also active on Facebook, Twitter. Mas active ako sa Facebook, sa TikTok, tsaka sa Instagram. That's Jayson Lo, JAYSONLO. So you can follow me there, and you'll get updated also with what I do.
All right. Thank you. With that, Jayson, maraming salamat sa pagsama sa amin ngayong araw. I hope we can see you again, do some other collaboration in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Christian. God bless everyone.
With that, thank you, and see you on our next episode. Bye-bye.